Look, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here when I say that most of us have not gone cruising in over a year, and that leaves a big window of opportunity for people to just not remember how to do it. I know it seems like that's not possible, but I've seen some crazy stuff in the last year. So let's kick off a new video series. Let's call it Cruising 101, and today's lesson is don't get kicked off a cruise ship. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido Loca. I'm your host, Tony. Wait, scratch that. I'm your professor of cruiseology, Tony, here with the cruise tips that could save your cruise vacation. We're going to talk learning today. We're going to learn how to not get kicked off the cruise ship. Today's show is sponsored by Babbel. Babbel, the new way to learn a foreign language, combining comprehensive educational methods with cutting-edge technology to help you learn a language that you do not know. Now, it's serendipitous that we are working with Babbel because Jenny and I are planning a cruise in 2022 that will take us to countries that we've never been to before. It's a journey that will expose us to 5 different languages. One of them, hopefully we know, English, but there's another language that's very pervasive across the globe, Spanish. And so even before we started talking with Babbel, I was telling Jenny we really should try to learn Spanish, and we didn't know how to go about it. And now we have Babbel. The way it works is super easy. There's an app on your mobile phone, and in 15 minutes a day, you can learn a whole another language. Through lessons 10 to 15 minutes a day on your phone, you can be speaking a new language in 3 weeks. Another cool thing about Babbel is they recognize that people have different learning styles. So inside the app, there are visual learning aids, there are auditory learning aids, a variety of ways to get to where you want to go when it comes to learning a new language. And look, that's what I'm looking for. I want something that works, I want something that's quick, and I want something that I don't have to spend a ton of time doing, and that certainly is Babbel. I'm going to jump into the app right here. Hola, Spanish, the native language of more than 450 million people and the official language in 21 countries. There's some regional differences, but don't worry. I'm going to learn Spanish. All right, continue. Select a Spanish word and listen.
Hola. Sí.
So that was a pretty cool lesson. It had both a visual and an audio component to it. Again, whatever your learning style is, you can learn a language with Babbel 15 minutes a day. And the great offer that Babbel is giving us is that if you buy 6 months, using the link in the description, if you buy 6 months, you get 6 months free, 1 year for the price of 6 months. That's a really great deal. Make sure you hit that link in the description for 6 free months. And if you do that, please comment. Let me know what language you're working on, and I'll keep you guys up to date on where I'm at when it comes to Spanish. Thanks again, Babbel, for sponsoring today's show. Now let's focus on how to not get kicked off a cruise ship. I've got a list of 10 for you. Let's kick it off with don't bring drugs on board. A lot of these you're going to scratch your head and go, well, who would do that? Well, the fact that there's a rule against it means that people probably did it. And we've seen stories in the news about it. Don't bring drugs on board. Whether it's a bunch of drugs or just a little bit amount of drugs, it doesn't matter. If it's an illegal substance that is banned by the cruise ship, you bring it on board, you get caught with it, you're going to get kicked off the cruise ship, and you may be subject to the local authorities. So that's what you don't want. You don't want to be somewhere far away from home and all of a sudden drugs are discovered and you're kicked off at some foreign port. It's not worth the risk. Do not bring drugs on board. All right, number 2 on the list. Let's ratchet it down a little bit. That drug thing seemed kind of intense. Don't skip the safety drill. There's a maritime law that says everybody has to go through the safety drill. The cruise lines have to make sure that they can attest that everybody has gone through the safety drill. And if you purposely try to miss the safety drill, they will hunt you down. And if you're a pain in the butt about it, you might even get kicked off the cruise ship. Safety drill is supposedly getting easier and easier as we return to cruising, going to more of a digital version where it's not as onerous as it was before. Not that it was ever onerous, it was essential because you wanted to know how to be safe on a cruise ship. Don't flirt with getting kicked off the cruise ship by skipping the muster drill. Number 3, don't throw anything or yourself overboard. This is a big no-no on a cruise ship. I reported a story one time about a man who got kicked off a cruise ship for throwing a cigarette butt overboard. There was another news story about a man who jumped off a cruise ship for fun and got kicked right off. It's pretty obvious. Don't litter. Don't throw anything overboard. Don't throw anything off of your balcony. There's security cameras everywhere. If you are busted throwing anything overboard, you will get kicked off the cruise ship. Number 4, stealing. Do not steal on the cruise ship. Do not steal from the stores. Do not steal from someone else's cabin. Just not stealing. I think that one's pretty straightforward. Do not steal. Number 5 on the list is kind of tricky. Make sure that your travel documents are in order. Now, of course, if you don't have the right travel documents to get on the cruise, then you would be denied boarding. That's not necessarily getting kicked off. But sometimes when you go to foreign countries, you have to have a visa. I distinctly remember a story about a couple who was going to a country that required a visa. It required everybody on the cruise ship to have a visa before they would allow the cruise ship to dock. Well, this couple missed the emails from the cruise line. They missed the courtesy calls from the cruise line. They ignored the information that they had where they were supposed to get a visa to get into this country. And then they got on the cruise ship. And then 2 days before they got to the country, the cruise line was checking people's visas because they knew they could not dock at this country without everybody having a visa. And the people didn't have one. And the only option the cruise line had was to either not allow everybody to go to that country or to kick this couple off. So before you cruise, before you set foot on the cruise ship, make sure that you have all your travel documentation in order. Number 6, buying alcohol for a minor. Now, if you've ever been on a cruise, you notice that sometimes the alcohol rules are a little loose. You see younger people maybe getting access to alcohol that you wouldn't necessarily see in normal circumstances. But whatever the rules are on the cruise ships, and most cruise lines out of the United States, you have to be 21 to drink. And you can get in big trouble, big time, the same way you can at home by buying alcohol for a minor. If the cruise lines discover this is what you're doing, they will kick you off. Number 7 on the list, fighting with other guests, physical altercations, and possibly even verbal altercations. There is no tolerance for the cruise ship fight. If you get into a physical fight with somebody on the cruise ship, you will most likely be detained on the cruise ship by cruise ship security and then put off at the next stop. If you're in a situation where you feel like you're gonna come to blows, you just got to walk away. Number 8, closely related to number 7, verbally assaulting the crew. The captain is the final arbiter. He is the final word, the final say as to what happens on the cruise ship. And he's responsible not only for the passengers, but for the crew. And the captain will not stand for abuse of the crew. And so before you go hard and heavy verbally at a crew member, keep in mind, you push it too far, you're going to be packing your bags and getting off the cruise ship. Now, number 9 may be something you can't avoid, but it is something that could get you put off the cruise ship. It's getting injured or it's getting ill. It isn't unusual for someone to be medevaced off of a cruise ship. That's just the nature of it. You put that many people together, there's a possibility that somebody's going to get sick or injured. And if your illness or injury goes beyond the treatment that can be provided on the cruise ship, they will work hard to get you off of that cruise ship to get you the medical attention that you need. Now on to number 10. I've saved this for last because I believe there will be a hypersensitivity around this in this new era of cruising. There will be zero tolerance for breaking the rules and ignoring health protocols. As I record this video in June of 2021, cruising has not fully restarted yet after a 14-month shutdown, and there's still a lot of questions about how it's going to work when cruising begins, and all indications suggest that there will be a greater focus on health protocols and on keeping the rules in a way that hasn't been true in the past. And so please, 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 make sure you follow the rules and make sure you follow all of the health protocols. Don't be that person that makes the news by getting kicked off a cruise ship for not following the rules. That concludes today's lesson of Cruising 101. Yeah, don't get kicked off a cruise ship. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. Please show your support by hitting the like button, or I'm going to send a note home with you that you got to get signed and bring back tomorrow. Tony with Lido Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.